Hello, and welcome back to the To Be Social podcast. I'm Sam. Oh, he's just silently waving.
I'm Ciarán. No, I just wanted to do a specific, slow, weird wave. I don't know why.
Okay, well,
it's popped in my head.
We've had jelly beans. We've had...
I wanted to say toasters, but there's connotations for toasters that are bad.
Yeah, but we didn't want to
Bath
go
toys.
into that. Bath toys.
Bath toys.
There we go. Bath toys. Hello, Bath toys. Welcome back
Exactly.
to our podcast. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
How are you?
I'm all right.
Good,
I'm all right.
Good.
Yeah.
That's a bit more normal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
like
is more
introducing
normal.
each other and then asking each other, how are you?
I've always thought it's a weird question, how are you? Because, like, social construct would dictate that you would give an answer that someone else would find pleasing. So you'd go, yeah, mate, I'm fine. How are you? Whereas if someone actually responded in the way that their head might be like, oh, actually, mate, I'm contemplating killing myself, or this is going on, you'd be like, holy, how do I deal with that? That was a lesson that was taught to me by a lovely gentleman called Peter Stafford, who was a biology teacher maybe 22 years ago. By doing the second one, absolutely shocked me sideways. And then he was like, as a reference point, don't ask it unless you mean it, which is not what I'm saying just happened there, but for some reason it popped in my head.
Well, it's funny because the standard response is, yeah, you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean, though, that construct of like the passing and back and forth.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, how are you? Yeah, I'm really good, thank you.
Yeah. I should have done that. Is that what you're pulling it back to?
No, not at all.
Instead of
No.
making it weird.
Well, I hope you're not contemplating this. That would make for some
No,
really
I'm
awful
not.
telly.
No, I'm not. That would be really, really bad.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing, though, talking about helping people.
It
It's,
is
good,
good.
it's a good segue into today's subject. So part of plugging the air gap in the audio industry
Yep.
is also talking about other things, such as...
Charity.
Oh, anything else?
UAF.
Anything else?
Mental health.
Whoa, we're really rolling on.
Yeah. I like all of those things, other than charity. That's not true.
So you don't like charity?
I do like charity.
But what don't you like about charity?
I don't like big charity that's then turned into a business. I don't think a charity should have people that are earning six-figure salaries sat at the top of it and going
why
to
shouldn't they earn
board
money?
meetings. Because I think a lot of people that do charity on the grassroots stuff do it. They give up. Okay, flip it. What's the best thing or the most important thing that you can give to another person? My mate Ciarán taught me this.
Your time, probably.
Yeah, 100% your time, because it's what you have. You don't have an infinite amount of time. You have a finite amount of it, and what you choose to do with your time, that's your thing. So I think the real art of charity is the time that you denote to something else, to a cause, or it could be anything. Like I help out. I'm not religious, and I help out cleaning the local church up because it's a 1,000-year-old building. I live in a lovely little village in the middle of Norfolk, and they're lovely people. They need a bit of help. Well, that's a little bit of time for me. That's cool. I don't mind that. But you're a trustee for like an actual charity.
I am.
But that's your time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then that's like, is it your moral that tells you that you want to do that, you want to give back, or you want to make a difference, you want to change something?
You've hit on a subject that
Is it that or the money?
well,
Because
hang
I
on.
would argue that if I was going to dangle a carrot and say, I'm going to pay you 200 grand a year to run that charity or to be a member of it, you would have a completely different moral compass moment on it. That was described really poorly, but you'd have a different
compass moral moment.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Or
Like
compass moment.
What's the thing? Like an
epiphany.
Yeah, one of them. But you'd have a different drive because the money would be something.
The
you'd be
motivational
like,
factor.
That's it.
Yeah.
Motivation. Yeah, you'd have I want that instead of that. Whereas at the moment, you want what? The outcome of the work.
I think personal satisfaction that I'm actually doing something that is slightly good for the world.
Yeah.
But the thing that you hit on in the middle of that was giving back. Okay, so that statement for me is the epitome of hell. Like I can't stand it.
You don't like giving.
No, giving back.
You don't want to give back.
I never took. So So why am I giving back?
That's true. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Well, I do look at it like that because I didn't take anything. I am what I am. I didn't do anything to like. Yeah, I've never taken anything off of anybody. So whatever I do is whatever I've done, and
yeah,
giving back doesn't sit right with me because I didn't take anything in the first place. However, I understand why people feel like that, and it's kind of like it's a blanket term. I suppose people used to feel slightly better about themselves if they happen to be from a slightly different, maybe social economic background, where they're disconnected with the reality of the world in certain places. And
you said we weren't going to talk about politics.
we're not. That's not politics. That's
You're talking about disassociate.
No. I'm talking about the use of the
world.
term giving back
Yeah.
and how giving back is put in to populate someone's misgivings about themselves or their social, economic, or whatever background. Potentially, I'm not right on this. I don't know, but I just don't like the term,
Yeah.
and it's used a lot.
It is.
You giving back?
No.
No, just doing something.
Doing
good.
something nice.
But am I doing the right thing? See, this is where it goes like into a whole different conversation.
Yeah. But okay, is it the right thing or the wrong thing? Or, but is the intent right? Like, because if the intent's right, and you
It
just
doesn't
want to
matter
do
then,
it,
does
don't
it?
matter, does it? Because
No,
you're
absolutely.
trying. And if
Yeah,
you,
How did I get going into charity? So, through the power of LinkedIn, I saw a post about UAF, and I thought, wow, that's really
What is
cool.
UAF?
So, the Young Urban Arts Foundation. It's a wonderful London-based youth charity that helps a lot of young people in developing their skills in the creative industries, partnerships with other organisations that enable pathways. We do creative workshops in production, DJing, poetry, podcasting, you name it.
Awesome.
We cover all sorts of stuff. It's fantastic. We're London Gold Youth Mark stamped of seal of approval, whatever. I don't even know what the official
I don't know
term
what
is.
that means.
No, I don't. But I should do.
Is that like a 5-star health rating if you have a kebab
Yeah,
shop?
kind of like it's an assessment of the charity's overall operations, running, management, governance, finances.
Cool.
Yeah, we do good and we do it well.
That's really good.
Be proud of it.
Yeah, but so you're affecting young people's lives by giving them opportunities and a springboard, develop themselves.
The
understand the path.
organisation is, and
Yeah,
this
not
is
you
where
personally.
this is
I
where
meant
it's
the royal
interesting. So, like, the reason I got involved was because I've worked in and around music, entertainment, broadcast, creative industries for a long time, and I felt I could be of use. So yeah, I was asked to join the board of trustees, which is made up of a group of people from, we're very lucky. We've got a very diverse board, lots of people from all different walks of life, with some specialisms as well. So we've got people with legal experience, governance of charity experience, finance experience, HR, PR, communications, so it's a real mashup of experience. And I was asked to join the board because I could add some value to it. I think there's, for me, it was, okay, whatever you need. But it was interesting. When I first went to a board meeting, it was on the 22nd floor of the Shard. I was like,
Posh.
wow, this is a bit like odd. And it was purely because the space to have the meeting that was in a central location was being given. Like we were lucky enough. It was in the Jellyfish, 22nd floor of the Shard. Like, wow, this is mad.
What's the Jellyfish?
It's a company, so
Oh,
yeah, and they're based in the Shard. So there I am, 22nd floor of the Shard, looking down over London, and that was the first realisation that being on the board was very different to the work on the ground. Mm-hmm. And it took me a long time to sort of get over that disconnect of being in a slightly different position. But one of the things that's really key for me in terms of like engaging with a charity was to not miss the real work on the ground with the young people, and I'd be guilty of this. I haven't been as active in that as I would like. So there's a real like tearing of the moral heart, because I want to be there, but at the same time, the time that I give is delivered in a different way, and if it's beneficial and helpful, then yeah, I'm happy with that. But it's a difficult one to manage, and I think that's where, in terms of charities structures, people see one thing or another. So a lot of the time you'll see patrons for charities who are royal or sports people or something like that. So they've got this glossy front end image, and their job is to go out and make money for that organisation.
bang that drum.
Yeah, but then you don't necessarily see the bit after it. Okay, people donate, or companies have corporate social responsibility funds, and they're handing over cash to these organisations to do a job. But what happens after that, is then about people on the ground, and that's where sort of charity volunteering. Most people's access to charities either on the telly or on the high street now, where there are a lot of charity shops. Rightly or wrongly, there's mixed thoughts on all of those things.
That's all that exists in this: charity shops and bookies.
So you got one, place to another in that. I don't know whether that's right or wrong. It's not really my place to say.
Well, it's a big social hand grenade, isn't it?
I think, there's the high street is in demise. People were complaining about it, but are doing nothing to support it as well, because it's easy not to. Charity work, you could say, well, if you work in the charity shop in the high street, you're doing charity work. But those are financial fundraising arms, as opposed to people doing good things for the people or animals or things, whatever the organisation is trying to achieve in terms of its actual mission. Charity shops are one thing. I don't get how charities are, funding massive advertising campaigns in the middle of primetime TV. Like, it's amazing, because when you're actually working in a sort of very small organisation that isn't globally recognised and doesn't have a massive pot of money to go and do stuff like that, that's bootstrapping. You've got to, every fiver is important.
You need more fivers.
Yeah, plenty more fivers, because you can't do good work without them. And I mean, the average person in the UK donating, really has to they should understand where every penny that they give goes. And I think they'd be very surprised in terms of looking at those larger organisations, how much of the money that they give doesn't actually end up in the place that we believe it does, because there's such a big cost. But running it as a business, like you're sort of talking about there, with high salaried CEOs and executives or whatever, but it is a business. If it's not run commercially
like a business, it won't survive.
Exactly. Yeah. So you've got to be inventive.
There's a crossover, isn't there? You've
got to be pioneering in trying to find new ways to effectively sell. But I think there's the expectation is also different. Like, it's much easier for, I don't know, Save the Dogs, whatever, something related to animals. They can stand in a supermarket and get people signing up to direct debits every day of the week. You try doing that with 20 kids from, I don't know, East London.
Mate, they'd have a better chance of it than a bunch of dogs with no thumbs.
No, but people don't want to give.
No, they don't.
So if you said, hey, look at us, we're a youth charity and we really need your help, or next door to them is the pull-up banner with droopy-eyed dog, which one's winning that day's work at the supermarket? So it's a real battle of morals and conscious biases in the way people are thinking. And so, the message that you put out is really, really important. And that's a developing thing for any organisation. Everyone starts somewhere, just like a business. Probably started with one or two people who really wanted to do some good. Over a period of time, something like Macmillan or Oxfam, from one or two people at the beginning, is now global entities that actually carry power, or who have the ability to do great things. But whether that's actually shown or not is, or you've got to go really looking for it, because you've got to get past all of the gloss that's put out as part of a marketing and PR campaign. So it's really, it's really interesting to be part of something that is all about young people, and I love that. I think there's a group in society that is often overlooked, underrepresented, or not given the platform of greatness that they deserve. And I don't know, the world is so anti anyone doing anything anymore.
Yeah, it's mad, especially in that demographic for young people.
Yeah,
Right.
and I think people forget the journey that they went on in life to be in the position to have a moan about what kids are doing.
Yeah.
Like,
Back in my day, I'd have been wrapped up or I'd have been wrapped on the knuckles for that. You get it everywhere, don't you?
Yeah, and I get it. Maturity says that you should learn lessons, but exploring what is right and wrong is a fundamental part of biology.
Survival.
Yeah, learning. Yeah, you go forward and you have a go at something. If it doesn't work, you try again and do something else. You make stupid mistakes. I'm not condoning violence. I'm not condoning drugs. I'm not condoning alcohol. I'm not condoning, kids on the street walking around with nothing but, with nothing in their hands. Like, you can't overcome all of those different things just by saying that you do some good work. It's a bigger problem. But where I've ended up with it is not just being a trustee. 2 years ago, I took over as the chair of the board. So what happened there is that I've got a team of people that are actually, looking at me as a figurehead or someone of a position that is helping guide that direction, that journey. And that's been a really different challenge again. So my disconnect from the ground level is even further, because actually what I'm doing now is really looking at things that I don't understand, like governance, law. I'm not a lawyer. That's it. I've never been the chair of a board of charities, so I'm having to learn about the right way to do things. But ultimately, as a business owner with employees, being the cultural developer or the person that people will follow in terms of how things run or the journey of that organisation from one place to the next, that's where I've found is more important than anything else, because getting people on board with ideas or infusing people or keeping the general direction on the right path, or being objective in views, or saying things that no one else is willing to say. So challenging the narrative. Is that the right thing to do? Do we benefit to the young people? Keep coming all the way back every time. Is it good for the beneficiaries? Because if it's not, why are we doing it? And there, we can easily go off on tangents and give ourselves reasons to do things that we think are right, but actually have we considered the overall picture and the message that actually that's not going to benefit anybody where it's needed most. And that's a massive amount of experience, and it's been very rewarding. One, because I know that there are great people who are doing the work on the ground who are very well equipped to work in those environments. Am I particularly well equipped to work in those environments? I don't know. Maybe I am. I have a strong passion for music, so that in itself just gives me the opportunity to talk to people on a level. But yeah, the team on the ground are doing their thing. The management structure is sort of there to support that, to guide, to do the day-to-day operational management and processes. And then that board is made up, as I say, of a great group of people. And what that's given me is a level of peer mentorship that I wouldn't find in any other place. So, would I generally in my day-to-day work just be able to have a conversation with a lawyer? Probably not, because I don't hang around with lawyers. You might know someone, but I don't have any mates that are
That's very different from having that access where you can just ask a question without fear of being a plonker.
Yeah, exactly. Or, the managing director of an investment bank. I don't sit in that circle at the bar, so...
Don't you?
No, not yet, anyway. So, having access to people that are at a peer level in a group that gives you different opportunities to have conversations or support. I've had a lot of help from that team over the years, and that team is fluid, so it's never the same group of people at any one given time. Are you going to punch me? It looks like you.
No.
I couldn't see the finger.
I was scratching.
He's having a scratch on.
You get like a hair from your facial hair that goes sideways in your mouth, a place it's got no place to be, and it just tickles you.
I don't tend to let it get that long.
That's what's doing it. It's driving me mental.
Terrible behaviour.
Yeah, I need to shave more often. Hate shaving.
It's a family affair, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, they're the things, though. Do you know what I mean? We're having a chat, Laura and I were earlier, about, if you're chatting to someone, so, right, you're talking to an investment banker in the charity, right? Geezer's got a massive lump of spinach on his tooth. Do you sit there and go, yeah, but in your head, all you're thinking is, man, spinach, and you're focusing on anything he's saying because all you're hearing is spinach, even though that's not what he's saying? Or do you go, dude, spinach? And then they move it and okay, thanks very much.
It's about playing the audience again, isn't it?
Oh, no, I'd just go, dude, you've got spinach in your teeth.
Oh, thank you very much. It's much appreciated because most people will respond with
thanks.
Because
well, some people do that whole when they grab at their face and they feel like really self-conscious all of a sudden. I've had that in there for 6 hours. Why has no one said anything?
Back on topic. Now we shall move into other things.
I think it's really interesting, genuinely, the fact that you got an insight into the inner workings of a charity. Charity does awesome stuff, needs money like every charity, but you have an entirely different opinion of charity doing what you do in your position within that charity than I would imagine someone that's within the same organisation or representing that organisation, but they're at a different part within the chain. You like you were saying about like
but
being...
that's teamwork, isn't it? That's teamwork across the board in everything that we do, and I'm a firm believer in it, and I think everybody who's willing to get stuck into something should do. But should people do that for free? No. If they're giving up their time and they're invested in developing their own skills and they've got things to offer, it doesn't always have to be voluntary. Like there's a big misconception that if it's charity work, you've got to do it for nothing. Well, unfortunately, people have still got to live, and so if your time is dedicated to doing that, well, why shouldn't you be paid for it? Should you be paid super handsomely for it? That's a different debate. But I think everybody's entitled to earn
some money, yeah.
Well, earn a living in a way that they choose to. I think if you genuinely care that much about things, then doing that work is right for you. If you are maybe materially led or whatever, then you probably won't choose that path anyway, because you're going to go where there's a higher paycheck every week. And again, that's not morally wrong or right. It wasn't.
No, it's just how that individual chooses to work.
For sure. And everyone is an individual. There's like trying to culture that thought process that people shouldn't earn a living. I don't know where that comes from. If charity is successful, it's run as a well-oiled machine and it's got strong practices and a moral value to itself, then everybody's entitled to earn a good living.
Beep, 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 beep.
So yeah, I'm a big believer in the equal opportunity that exists across that. And one of the things when we're recruiting new trustees is talking about their time commitment, and how, for me as a chairperson, I don't want them to feel that it's onerous.
No.
So if you're volunteering your time, your expertise, your skills, your contacts, your knowledge, it shouldn't take over your day. So you're providing yourself as someone who's available to get involved in that process, but it's not your job. So if it was your job, you might not necessarily have the same skills that we require. So that's why we have to have that range of people adding and contributing every day to the discussions that are needed. And yeah, that's a really interesting part of the process. Lighting change.
Oh yeah, this is groovy. Like, I was all like,
kind of works though. So here we go into the dark hour.
Oh, lighting. I think it's all right.
That's all right.
I kind of prefer it.
So now we've gone into moody afternoon session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it should have a different topic other than sensible, serious ones.
Well, take us there. But it comes back to helping.
It does.
Doesn't it? And where we started was about having help, or should we help?
Yeah.
How do we help? What can we do? And
you can just pay kindness forward. Just be nice. Just don't, that classic phrase, don't be a dick. There's no need. If you take that like a agenda out of wanting to achieve something from a thing, there's someone who needs some help. I'm an individual that has that information. And if I'm not, I know someone who is. Just put the two people in contact with one another, do a nice little intro, or solve the problem yourself if you're able. You don't need nothing for it. It's just helping another human, isn't it?
The thing is that what people probably tend to do is, you've got you at home, you at work, and you in other places. We spend a lot of time at work.
We do.
Trying to, we've been in sales for a long time between us. Mm-hmm. And
I don't do sales, but yeah.
Well, you do.
I always say, I told off for this last week, but I don't do sales.
No, you do.
I do people.
Well, yeah, but...
That sounds wrong, but...
Your job, your roles that you have taken have sales as part of their entitlement.
Yeah. Yes.
So you do sales, but why do you do that? Because you enjoy people, and it's a way to connect with people on a level, in a professional sense. You earn a good living in doing it, and you enjoy what you do. So your interest is more in the engineering and the physics, because you like things and getting stuck into understanding how stuff works. And
still love bent metal,
bent metal principles of how things are affected by forces or whatever. So today you're selling loudspeakers, but yesterday you were selling brackets. It's the same thing,
but different.
Yeah. And then the process of talking to people about those things with enthusiasm and whatnot is taken genuinely, because you're not acting like a dick most of the time.
I can't help it.
I was beating you to
I know. The bit where I'm acting like a dick is the bit I can't help. That's just sort of like my own personal disability.
But it's a perceived level of dick, isn't it?
Yeah. And then that's down to someone else's perception.
Exactly.
And then that's I find really interesting, though, like on a mental health perspective, that chat about external verification. How much should you actually care what other people think? Like, because I'm inherently me. My character is, got all of its faults and its quirks, but that is who I am. And then it might change in those different settings and scenarios where I might be a different me at home than I am down a pub, or vice versa. I'm actually not that much. I'm pretty much on the same level most of the time. And I'm fortunate in that with my work, that I have the attitude of what you see is what you get. You can take me or you can leave me, and if you don't like to, you can choose to go away with yourself, and that's absolutely fine. For a lot of people, though, that's not the way that they navigate life. They're like, they look or exist on external verification, so someone else has to say, that's all right, that's not all right. What are we dancing to? That's amazing. We've got a theme tune. Did you hear that? A theme tune from over there.
It was more like the start of Baywatch, wasn't it?
I was up for that.
Okay. Are you ready? I believe that being yourself as much as possible is a strong way to live.
Yeah.
The world is hating on that right now.
Because, being yourself.
Yeah. Because there's a pretense, and finding entertainment or gratification in things like, we've had a conversation today about,
I'm still not ready to talk about that.
Weird noises. Don't even know what there was some sort of
ASMR,
whatever that is.
Yeah, and content for the sake of content.
Just continuously looking at stuff. Why? Why do we do that? But I get it, because that is what it is. But being yourself in the process. Well, I have little inhibition anymore. As I've got older, I don't care, so I'll just get on with it. If you want me to make a complete wally of myself, I'm happy to do so. I don't even need a drink or anything else to do that, and I'm quite comfortable with it. So even sitting here now, we can have a comfortable conversation. A lot of people can't do that, so I take a bit of pride in being able to say I'm all right.
Yeah,
in being myself in situations. However, we all want to be somewhere else. Aspirations to do other stuff and whatnot, but getting there is the journey. Being yourself in the process is the stronger way to be, surely.
I think so, yeah.
But as an industry, like we're here talking about plugging the air gap in the audio industry, there's always a lot of conversations. I don't believe it's exclusive to one industry or another. Industries are collective. Is it a collective noun? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know.
Oh man, collective nouns. That's like a Murder of Crows land, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. Okay, so industry is a describing word. An adjective, maybe.
An adjective? Oh no.
I don't know. Okay, we didn't study English clearly.
I actually did. I got A-levels in it.
Did you?
Yeah,
Oh,
I can't remember it though.
Not
that was in a part of my life when things were involved.
Here's a challenge for the listeners, please. Send in what is what
a collective noun?
It's
No, isn't it?
Anyway, moving on. Don't want to worry about whether it's a collective noun, an adjective, or a pronoun, or anything else. We don't care. It's an industry.
Yeah.
It's not exclusive.
No.
Mental health, it covers everyone, and
It does.
you know, there's no
We've all
rights
got
or
it.
wrongs with any of this. But as a subject matter, it's vast.
Oh, it's massive.
And there's no easy fix for mental health issues.
No.
I think there's a lot more awareness of them,
Yeah.
and I think there's a lot more intent to help people get through challenges.
Or just understand them and not be a tool about it.
Yeah, but you know, at the same time, people have got to help themselves as well.
Yeah, that's
You know,
true as well.
You know, there's a big.
I think that's
onus.
the biggest thing about depression. I think like you could exist and rely on an external party to try and solve your depression, but realistically, the only person that can solve the depression is the person that's suffering from it, because it's them and them alone that need to notice where their head is at and then try and get out of that. Like I suffered with depression when I was younger. And if I was in a hole, it didn't matter if anyone else was at the top of it going, here's a ladder, mate, just climb up here. It's really easy.
Not interested.
I'm like, well, one, I'm not interested. Two, I can't see the rungs or the rope. It's like where your head is at that moment, that ladder doesn't exist. That rope, whatever the analogy is or the metaphor, you can't get out of that unless you're ready to get out of it. Like that whole thing about people saying, you know, you've got to go to the bottom before you can get back up. It's kind of like that. And so you need a lot of people aware and a lot of people being able to help. But ultimately, like you said, that individual's got a lot of work to do themselves.
Yeah, and that's where charities can be helpful.
Yeah, massively. Yeah, to give those individuals the tools, you know,
and taking people for who they are, what they are about, and helping them answer their own questions. You know, I'm a big believer in counselling. I went to counselling a few years ago. You know, driven by things like bereavement and stuff like that. It was a big deal. And at the end of, like, I don't know how long I went for, a good few months. At the end of it, I said to the lady that had sat with me every week for an hour, I said to her, you're a genius. She said, what do you mean? I said, you've taken 60 quid off me every week and you haven't said a bloody word.
Yeah, I'd class it as robbery. No.
Daylight? It was about 5 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah,
so it was
Twilight robbery. Yeah.
Twilight robbery. But she didn't really say anything, and I answered all my own questions. I laid out all my own facts about myself, and she helped me pick a path towards sort of finding some closure in my mind. And that's a really amazing experience to go through if you're willing to put yourself through it and be honest about it and actually take it for what it is. And from there, you know, I'm in a different place completely, and
Totally different individual.
I don't say a totally different individual, but I'm very aware of what I am about, why I do certain things, how I do certain things, and the effect that has on other people. And I think that's really important, self-awareness. But from there, it's given me the ability to think clearly about the direction that I want my life to go in. And so the energy that gave me to do more things, so be a better entrepreneur or you know, or try to be at least, and think about things, you know, the development of different businesses, taking on an acquisition, you know, employing more people. That all comes with more and more responsibility. So being able to take that challenge or each challenge on with a fairly level head is a big plus point, because I think a lot of people jump into stuff and they're not in a sort of stable frame of mind to enable them to make good, strong decisions, be accountable for those decisions, and go forward in a path that enables some sort of outcome. And I think that's, you know, it could be overwhelming, it could be daunting. If you're able to deal with those things, you know, in a way that is calm and collected and methodical, you can generally work through it. You know, it's not easy running cash flow and tax and all sorts of other stuff. Thank you, HMRC, by the way.
Dirty word.
Hey?
Tax.
Tax is a dirty word.
Tax is a dirty word.
Well, it's not. It's 3 letters.
Yeah. Dirty word in my book.
Depends on how you look at it, though,
It
doesn't
does, yeah. It does.
You can't avoid it.
No, you can't.
Just
And if you try, they catch up with you, and then it gets worse.
That's another problem.
That's definitely true.
We're going to cut this section out.
It's a life lesson.
Oh, you want life lessons on tax?
Yeah, that is a
Just
life.
pay it.
Just pay it. Yeah, just pay it.
It's not going to win any other way.
Pay it.
No, I'll tell you what, we'll do a life lesson on tax in business. From what I've learned so far, VAT, simple answer is people complain about VAT. VAT doesn't matter because it was never yours. That's their words to me. Why did you spend the money? Oh, I don't know.
Because I had it.
In the bank account. Yeah, but it wasn't yours to spend.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. From that moment onwards, it was never mine. And we manoeuvred it to a completely different place so that it didn't get caught up in cash flow. And
That's a really good lesson, though.
it was a good lesson.
Yeah.
It would have been an
That's a painful
lesson otherwise. Yeah. But having that conversation with someone who said to me quite forthrightly, but it was never yours to spend. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's that paradigm shift, though, isn't it? Where
Never
you view
thought
it
about it
totally
like-
differently.
Tax, because we see it as a all right.
Oh, yeah,
it's a
negative, yeah.
dirty word. Well, okay, but it is what it is. We include it. We register to include it. It puts 20% currently on the price of goods or services or whatever. 20% is a lot of money, but it was never ours in the first place. So using it is fundamentally flawed. But most people don't consider that. So if you've got the opportunity to get it right, do it, because that's a really, really
Yeah. But the two things tie in, though, because that's like if you're in a position as a business owner trying to manage your cash flow, and then all of a sudden you get a whopping great VAT bill that lands on your doorstep and you haven't done what you said, that is a giant trigger of like, oh my God, what am I doing? How do I
it's
sort
not
this
a bill
out?
that you don't know about. It's manageable because you know it's coming. If your sales are coming in and they've got VAT attached to them, you've already accounted for it. But what you haven't done is been sensible enough to remove it from your
The actual
available
flow.
cash.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that tax bill, the request for that to be paid, well, you've accumulated it, you've got it, you've told us, because the other thing is, they don't know how much to take off you until you tell them. So it's never a surprise. VAT is never a surprise. It's something that is calculated all the way through, and either one point or another, you're going to have to pay it. So it's pretty, it's easy to say it once you know how to do it, but it's pretty lame to use VAT as an excuse, for not running your business efficiently. That sounds like a bold statement, but based on real world experience, it's a lesson that we learned very, very early on, and we worked very hard to avoid it ever happening again, where we were, in arrears for VAT.
Don't want to do that.
There you go. Helping people. Is this what this is about?
Yeah.
Could
I think it
that
helps
take
people.
stress off of people if people
Well, it
have
does take stress, but like I said about a trigger, if you've got, it doesn't have to be that bill, but if you've got something that comes in and just kicks you in the teeth, or something that you've overlooked, you haven't really worked out the importance of it, and then you're wrestling with that realisation fact of like, oh, hang on a minute, I've been spending money that was never mine, in that VAT example, that's a potential massive trigger for you to have a moment where you're like, how am I going to handle this? And then if you've got the added responsibility of employees, of other things like that, and different responsibilities on top, it has a bigger knock-on effect. That then is going to have a massive
Well, that's why business
impact,
is not for the
potential.
faint-hearted, because
No,
having a go at it and doing it is not easy. And I think people, again, like employees' rights and requests and
Employees have rights.
I know. Well, I'm an employee. Just happen to pay myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have the same rights as anybody else, just have the responsibility to manage what happens to everybody else at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's a big subject, and we can get really into berating businesses and organisations for not doing the right thing for people. But I firmly, we've talked about this last time, didn't we? Or episode 1, even our pilot episode, where we touched on it a little bit. But it is a big deal. It's not easy to manage lots of different things, and it honestly takes a lot of mind space to be able to do that without losing your shit.
Yeah.
Because over a period of time that can be cumulative, and what's easy one day is really difficult the next. constantly trying to feed a machine that ultimately starts to take more and more resources. Growth is a great word, but it ain't easy to do, and trying to balance all things of things coming in and going out sounds easy. If some people are lucky, they have great things that happen. I think you need a bit of luck now and again.
Right, you need a bit of luck.
With a little bit of luck, we can make it through the night. It's true as anything, because you need that. But how do you feel as an employee? You work here with us.
I think it's mega.
It's nearly a year on since you started.
Yeah, I haven't been sacked. That's the way I term it. It's nearly a year and I haven't been sacked. Today? Yeah, that's all right. I really get off on the fact that I can be my actual self without reprimand, and that's brilliant. That's amazingly free to genuinely have that, because a lot of people say it, not a lot of people mean it. That's my personal experience of it. Really
lovely to...
No, but it's true. Like, legitimately, because I turn up into meetings, and sometimes, like we were at ISE, we had a wonderful, really interesting business opportunity come up, and the first thing I said to the end user was "fuck off." That was the very first thing I said to them. And you're laughing now, and I know you're like, yeah, that legitimately happened. My mate who brought him along, he knows, if he's listening, he knows exactly who he is, Dan. And he was just like,
no names,
oh my God. But then when the guys come in, he was like, look, I told you he was weird, but wasn't the kit amazing? He was like, yeah, 100%, that's incredible. He was like, yeah, you just have to deal with a weirdo. But that was, at that specific point in that show, that is what I felt was appropriate. So that's what I went with. And I 100% backed myself. And standing back at the end of it, it went fine. We're still friends. There's no problem with it.
Was you still on probationary period at that point as well?
Maybe. But I mean, regardless of it not though, but that whole thing about actually being authentic and being yourself, you can say it and you can give someone that power in a business and go, yeah, you can be yourself. But then that's very, very different when that person actually opens up and goes, yeah, this is how mental I want to be. That's probably the wrong terminology, but this is how loud, how brash, whatever. And then go, yeah, actually that's cool. I'm going to back that, because for whatever reason, I'm still going to back it and go for it. That's the difference.
Well, if change is a difficult thing to manage.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to culture an individual to change to be something that they are not,
I'm like a yogurt, mate.
Well, you're going to go through a bit of a battle with that, aren't you?
Yeah.
There's sort of like that gradual fermentation period. The sort
bubbling.
Yeah. I've no intention of trying to change people from one person to another unless they want to go there. Like, why would I want that?
Yeah.
If how you are is how you are, why do I want you to be something else? I don't. Like, I want you to be you and be happy about being you, rather than. And if you're not happy about being you, well, if I'm of any use to you to get you to somewhere else, then great. I'm happy to do that, as long as there's an opportunity to have a conversation about it.
But that's proper character development though, isn't it? That's like personal development. That's like noticing within yourself. Like, I don't know, I could turn around and go, I maybe want to look smarter, or I might cut my hair or something. So I can personally notify something and go, I want to change that. I want to actively change this part of either my personality, how I present myself, how I talk, whether I've got an accent, whether I'm talking like a bit of a geezer, or I want to try and pretend to be a little bit posher and have elocution lessons. That's an active choice. I can go, that aspect of my character, I want to tweak. But and then being able to do that.
Do you do that anyway, though?
There's a certain element of it that happens.
Because I do it.
Yeah, you have to. I
Today
think.
I'm a geezer, I'm talking to you like a mate. All right.
Yeah.
But tomorrow I might have to talk to, I don't know, whoever. And it would be, from my perspective, not the right choice of accent, almost.
No, I know. Which is really, really weird, that the fact that even though that you can be yourself and you have the freedom to be yourself, you will catch yourself within certain circumstances and go, this isn't appropriate. Because, and then is it not, when is it, but that's such a big question, like, when is it not appropriate to be yourself? So for answer, like, I sent you that picture of...
but is it how you say it, or is it what you're saying?
I think it's what you're saying. But then there's so much with the intent. Like, so much with the intent. Like that picture I sent you the other day, those geezers in the pub. Geezers in the pub. One of the things I really like about one of those gentlemen is the fact that he has less than zero filter, like absolutely none. 100% what you see is what you get. And he doesn't adopt change for anybody. Rishi Sunak could walk in and it'd still be exactly the same. The King could walk in, still be exactly the same. He just doesn't give a monkeys. He's like, this is what happened. And the backstory on it is fascinating. He got to a point in his life where he should have been legitimately dead and he nearly bled out off a car accident. And he said he was laying there with all the lights coming in and out of focus. And then when he came back to in the hospital, he was like, fuck all that noise. This is what I am. And anyone that doesn't get on with it, they can do one. And it's really refreshing to be around. But sometimes I'm standing next to him in the pub and I'm like, mate, come on. Like, you know, there's a family over there. They're trying to eat a meal. And he's like, yeah, but this is what I am. And why should I apologise for that? I find it really,
being apologetic, or is it being considerate to others?
There is an element of that in there. There is a big element. But I think it's fascinating to look at.
The thing is, if you start your day with intent to cause anybody any harm or feeling of angst against you, then that's what probably is the wrong part of it. If your intent is never to cause anyone any actual upset, harm or hurt, then being yourself isn't a problem.
Yeah.
Having consideration will probably do you a favour.
Yeah.
That's all.
No, it is. It's life lessons, though, isn't it? But like you said about making mistakes, you've got to make those mistakes.
Or life lessons, or near-death lessons.
I
think that's a different subject, because how many people have had a near-death experience enough to make a life decision? That's a whole. There's a deep subject.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
That's something for like.
We're not going to go into that. We're talking about speakers and microphones. By the way, this podcast is sponsored by Sontronics microphones.
They're lovely, aren't they?
Should we wrap it up?
Can you rap? You can probably.
No,
rap.
I can't, mate. No, believe it or not.
Beatbox?
No, not my thing.
No,
never. Sorry.
Should you just walk off? Like someone else can press stop. Just walk out the room like you don't care anymore. It's done.
What to
like have a tantrum?
Just no. But can we do it to the sound? What's that? The Reservoir Dogs,
like Little Green Bag.
Yeah,
that is Little Green Bag, isn't it?
Yeah,
sang it.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you're listening on any of the platforms, please like, share, comment, and vote and rate your experience in your preferred chosen
format.
Format. That's the word.
Format.
Hey.
Proper outro.
Bye.